Durty Talk, the podcast with Bob Fryer. Keep the conversation cooler, get it on fire from the studio room and push through the wires. Learn how the brains groove and distinguished outliers. The artists you admire who lay some walls.
Alright, back in the studio for the Durty Talk podcast with my man, Camerin Nesbit, aka Camocustomz.
What's up, y'all?
An amazing artist, and I really feel that you are your personality and who you are outweighs your art, which your art's beautiful, and so are you, man.
Thank you, brother.
I'm happy to have you here. It's been a while. Like we spoke earlier, about 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm about to say, we did that. We did Shanny, one of Shanny's first events. You know, she actually does a lot of my PR work still now, and we're still holding a tight relationship. But 6 years ago, we were both, just tapping into the trade, seeing what was going on that Most Wanted. So it's definitely dope to come full circle and do something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a lot of your work comes from your love for your culture, from what I take from it.
Mm-hmm.
What I take from it.
Yeah.
Sharing your experiences and the way you see the beauty in Black culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that with all due respect because I love your work. I love the butterflies.
Thank you.
The butterflies mean something to me on a personal level. They have since my dad passed, so it's like I love seeing them.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that.
And most recently, you helped and pretty much organize the whole Black Lives Matter mural.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think we need more of that. We need to hear from everybody in the Black community, anybody that's a person of color right now, speak out against all this. And if you could educate us, I want you to talk about your work, but educate us on from your perspective of the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's sad that we actually have to have this talk.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's sad, but it's completely necessary, and I do appreciate giving me the platform to talk amongst other artists, of the community and what's going on, and just people that are non-Black and might not completely understand or appreciate what's going on. But to start with my work, like born and raised in Homewood, east side of Pittsburgh, predominantly Black area, lower income, kind of poverty stricken. But Homewood has been like one of the biggest community platforms I've ever been in my life. Like everyone knows everyone. Things don't change too much. People, the love is very central, and it's inclusive to everybody that's there, and I think it kind of is the complete opposite of what it might have a reputation of. So that's basically like where my work comes from, just giving the correct representation for Black culture. Not saying that it's ever represented incorrectly, but I think that it's not represented in the best way possible. So I just try to show the beauty in it. I think a lot of times when it comes to Black culture or Black community, a lot of negatives try to come about. So I just try to, keep that positive and like keep that flow going that, not just shows like what a Black person or the Black culture is capable of or, what we're about, but like more of to inspire somebody that looks like me, that might have that same dream or a similar dream.
I think your work and the way that you push and create is inspiring to anyone. It inspires me to when I see an artist create something that I think is amazing. I want to outdo them. Not that I do, To me, it's friendly competition. And every time, I seen your sneaker posts, like those are dope. And when I see you start doing the portraits, you bring out the beauty in who you're painting. Now, are these people that you actually know, or are they coming from your mind?
They vary. I've painted, cousins, family members, my mother, my brother, my girlfriend. I've painted some people, but a lot of times, I'll just get like some sort of like Google reference and just take that like actual just stance and then just work around it and just, kind of build it as I'm painting. I just try to get like a rough sketch and go about it like that. I just know that I try to keep the same consistency of, like you said, like just highlighting beauty and just like so much expression in the work. You know what I mean? I think that's important. And, what we do as artists, I think it's important to show and express, what the painting feels, not just what it looks like. So, that's just how I go about it. It's not really too much in particular. Sometimes I might use like a celebrity or two. But, I just see a picture that I think is cool or, that I think is pretty beautiful, and I just add the elements that, transitions into like that masterpiece of art.
Now, within the recent events, you did you organize the Black Lives Matter mural, or tell me about this, because I think it's amazing that how many artists you got out there that was ready to contribute to this. Did you get donations? And because that's a lot of paint. That's a big wall.
Yeah. So we'll go all the way to the beginning of the story. The Black Lives Matter mural originally started from 3 house painters. You know what I mean? Like good friends. They've been like, concealing and not concealing their names. One good homie, Connor. You know what I mean? Like I've been in most contact with him. But they originally put up the Black Lives Matter mural. What happened with this is people came to find out that there was no Black life involved in the production of these public works, of these big murals, and it kind of started like a small uproar. And I actually didn't know the painters at first. You know what I mean? Like I knew their work, outside of like the graph world and stuff like that. But I literally didn't know them from a can of paint. And I ended up getting a call from a good homie, and he tells me like what's going on, and like he kind of introduces me to them, and like I go down to the spot, we go talk, and they're just they're wondering why, what's going on, like it was great intention, and I understood that it wasn't there wasn't any type of back and forth or like hostility towards that. I wasn't like mad at them for doing it, but I do believe in good intentions, but the thing about good intentions is it's only halfway there. So like instead of like getting mad at someone for having the cup half empty, I seen it as half full, and I just said, hey, I can help. We could reform this. I have a bunch of artists that are good friends. Black artists that are good friends, ready to mural. Looking for opportunity in general, just because the representation of public art in Pittsburgh is predominantly white, but also predominantly not present.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? So, just changing that aspect and letting people come, letting Black artists come and work out of their comfort zones. So we planned it we met on last Sunday and we planned it for last Wednesday. And an article that came out in between time of City Paper basically smiting the artist for putting the mural up, and that's what started the whole uproar. Now, as far as that article, the things that were talked about in the article were factual, but I think they were just slanted in kind of the wrong reason / way of this particular project. Not in general. In general, like we have some pretty factual things, but in this particular project, I think it was just a little bit slighted because this wasn't commissioned. Like this is complete, guerrilla graffiti. They threw it up. So
now, did you guys get any flack or kickback from the town or from the city?
No, actually, they had put it up Sunday, and I want to say maybe Saturday night. And when I met with them Sunday, the city had actually, I'm not sure how that actual conversation happened, but long story short, Duquesne Lights ended up providing like big fuel, fog lights. So like these lights are humongous. And once I seen the lights, I'm like, yeah, we're going to be able to do this. You know what I mean? I think with this type of attention and, just the message involved and like them being able to pull it off, whether it be, white privilege or not, let's use this to catapult, the actual cause of, fighting for Black artists' rights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and getting opportunity and building CVs and, getting a portfolio going. So I think that was the most important part to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I wasn't upset. Like, I don't think upset was the word at all. Like, I was kind of confused because I'm like, well, shit, that's an amazing job. You know what I mean? Like, the letters are literally like 18 feet tall, so, and for somebody to do something like that in like such a time, it's like, wow, like, if anything, we have to like build some sort of like partnership or allyship between that. Because like at the end of the day, they risked their freedom.
Yeah.
Whether they got away with their white privilege, however you want to look at it, like there was still a risk of freedom at all points, at all points of time. So, like I respected that, and I just was like, hey, let's take your great intentions and make some intentional work.
I haven't been down to see it yet, and I really want to. Is there more coming up then for this?
As far as this particular wall,
I mean just like in general, like is there something that's going to help with the movement and bring the light that Black lives do matter? Because I think that needs to be heard too. That needs to be seen and definitely documented, because this is I think a crazy time that we actually have to have a conversation that, or even people are debating on if Black lives matter. It's like, come on, people. Like you want to say all lives matter, but then shut this down.
But like obviously they don't.
Like I can't grasp my mind around all lives matter when it's sad that people don't feel that way, and it's horrible. It's horrible. I how can you educate, or what can you tell anybody that is not Black to like how to discuss this? Because like I'm having a hard time discussing it because I don't know, and just because one reality of mine is real doesn't mean yours isn't. So like what can we do within the white community? And I hate putting it that way because this whole thing just upsets me.
Like you could just say no, I'm Black to say it.
Okay.
But like as far as that, like I just think this is like a very especially for people that are non-Black, I think it's just a very educational and a studious period, for people of that community. I think it's something to be considerate about, and like the more considerate that you are about this subject, the more considerate you'll be, throughout life. I don't think and I believe in people just not knowing better, and I believe people being raised a certain way, and like things like, so it's almost like we have to deprogram. You know what I mean? Like the capitalist state, the imperialist state. You know what I mean? Like this state of mind that people are in, like that's what has to be broken. So when like you see that, you know what I mean? Like that's when you step in and like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like I've been I don't even do like the social media comments and going back and forth, but I've been tagged in so much stuff, and I've seen so much like closet or blind racist comments. You know what I mean? Like there was a comment in Facebook my homie Craig had posted, just showing love to the work. He's a good guy. Like, I love his kid. Like, we're real cool. But, a couple of his friends are like, oh, we're down with the paint and we get it and all, but like, who's fueling the lights? I hope tax dollars aren't paying for that. And it's like, like tax dollars don't pay for the potholes that we hit and fuck up our axles. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff that tax dollars do and don't do. But for this cause, it's that important that Duquesne Light stepped in and do that.
I think it's amazing that they did that. I think it says a lot about their company that they support this movement.
Yeah, it wasn't asked for. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, people also have to completely respect about this project. It was all graffiti. Like, none of this was sanctioned. None of it, even the reform. You know what I mean? We went down and performed more You know what I mean? Street art, you know what I mean? It was just more sanctioned about Bill Peduto not wanting to buff it off, you know, like them supporting it with the lights. So it grew into something, you know what I mean? So like, it's one of those things that you just really have to step back and just be considerate of people in general, but also from, you know, just black people in general. We're not looking for any type of like pity or like over sympathy or anything like that. We just like, you know, it's almost like that kid that's considered like different or weird in high school. It's like we want to be treated like normal. You know what I mean? Like we want to be treated as if we were the star athlete on the basketball team or the best trumpeter on the band. You know what I mean? Or maybe the valedictorian. You know what I mean? Like we want to be treated as if we could be all these people because we are those people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my little brother just graduated high school, you know, on Sunday, full ride scholarship to Pitt University, the main campus. You know what I mean? Like, it's we are these people that are considered, you know, normal. You know what I mean? Like we compare with white people. You know what I mean? In the positions and stuff, but it's just a simple of, you know, people live off the Cornerstone speech, you know, type of mindset, and that was a speech. That's not a law. You know, there's nothing in the amendments or the Constitution that state that the Cornerstone speech is law and that we should follow that. It's just something that the Confederates followed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's bringing up the Confederates, and now people are getting upset that they're banning Confederate flags. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how can you get upset at that, but get upset, or not get upset, or you're upset at that they're banning that when it made you irate when somebody kneeled to the flag. Mm-hmm. And I don't take it as disrespect to the kneeling. It's always kind of boggled my mind is the United States has one flag, mm-hmm. but others salute this Confederate flag, which comes like from a place of hate, from a place of racism for what they wanted. They wanted to fight for all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'm not a history major. I mean, I missed a lot of school, but that, like, if you want that flag, essentially you want what that flag represents,
right?
And that's horrible. Like,
right.
like if you're gonna get mad at someone kneeling, you should get mad at somebody that's saluting this flag or waving it because it's not the American flag. Mm-hmm. And it just, to me, it's so many people are backwards on this, and it's just a fucked up time right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you know, it's a institutionalized thinking thing. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I could break it down the best way just to make this make sense to the masses. And you got to think of it like the reason why this is happening now is because we're on the last straw. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason why that there's a Civil Rights Act, a Civil Rights Movement that was successful. And we have these, we can go back to the American Revolution and what they fought for, and that was successful for new reform. And the problem is that white supremacy, you know, Confederacy, you know, people that follow imperialism, capitalism, these type of people who are made primarily, you know, European or white, you know, they don't know how to lose. And that's really what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, the thing about when you lose, you know, you got to kind of let things ride. You know what I mean? Like, think about it with you know, when it comes to the Jews and the Holocaust, like what was done to them, but then their reform. You know what I mean? Like, all of the Russians, they had to lose. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then look at where the Jewish body stands today. You know what I mean? Because Russia knew how to lose. But Russia is also nobody to fuck with.
Yeah.
So they also know how to win.
Yeah.
So who's going to be accountable for white supremacy not knowing how to lose?
I say take them out. You gotta categorize them as a terrorist group because that's what they are.
And it's as simple as that. Because, you know, what else would you be if you were to play a basketball game, beat the shit out of these guys, and then they come and terrorize your well-being and your lifestyle and who you are because they lost the game? You know what I mean? That's a terrorist. Yeah. That's a problem. You know Absolutely. What I mean? So, like, hiding behind power can only get you so far when you're losing in the masses of these people that you're actually oppressing. You know what I mean? So like that's the problem, and that's what we need our non-black allies and people that do want to help or do want to reach out. We want that conversation had. You know what I mean? Because the conversation of pity, you know, we kind of over that. We still doing our own thing and we still getting it.
To me, if I've ever come across of showing pity, to me it's not. I don't want to give pity. I want to give sympathy because I don't want to see my friends treated, their families treated a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see them treated in any way that is less than human.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fucked up time. And like I was telling you, it's brought me to tears because like there's so many people that I care about that can't walk the street or they get profiled because they fit this the description based on their skin color. Like, and that's not cool. And it's like with George Floyd, like 8 minutes and 46 seconds, somebody kneeling on his neck.
Yeah, three people on his whole body.
Yeah, and yet Brock Turner's got 6 months for rape. That demon dude down in it's Dylan or whatever down in South Carolina got Burger King or McDonald's or whatever after he massacred people. It's like.
And then I'm glad you brought up the sentencing, and that's what's important also, like the representation of the black body when it comes to our legal system. You know what I mean? Like our legal system is also built against the black body. That's where the cornerstone speeches really lie, in our judges, in our you know, in some lawyers, and just the judicial system. Period. Like that's where it lies. You know what I mean? Like how many? You know what I mean? Like, and I can speak for a lot of people. Like a lot of black people don't even have the resource to find a good lawyer, or to be able to sit in front of the right, or find the right attorney or lawyer that knows and has the relationship with the judge. That's what it's all about. They don't put that on TV for no reason. And you know what I mean? Like, depending on how much your lawyer costs, it costs that much because that's how much juice he got.
Yeah.
That's how much juice she got. You know what I mean? So when these people with this juice are your brother and sister, you know what I mean? It's a little bit different for you than where it's like hard for us to acquire that. So like it's so many levels of representation that black people lack, and that's why the results against us are like this. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with, you know, oh, this white person called me an N-word or you know what I mean? It's the representation that we lack and that we cannot become better because there's literally somebody kneeling on our neck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So where do you go when somebody's on your neck? Because you know damn well if you're on our back or our leg, we're going to get up.
Yeah.
We're going to get up. And then when we get up, that's when it's your problem. You know what I mean? And y'all is not considered to anybody, but that's what the white supremacist or the white man will fear. Us standing on our own two. Us living chest up, you know?
No, I just don't understand how oh, don't worry about anything down there. Oh, that was your one. I just don't understand how we got to a point of this. And I know it's been going on for how long? It's horrible. But
hundreds of years.
But we got people that are sworn into a force that are supposed to protect and serve us equally. I don't understand how, and it's probably me being ignorant and naive to everything, but I don't understand how that's tolerated when there's been so many, like, for an officer that has profiled and targeted someone that is black, like, and they didn't do anything wrong, like, how can they still be a part of this force, and how is that acceptable to anybody in the community to let that happen? You know, like I'm confused on all this.
Because I mean, you gotta look at what we have in front of us. It's a system. You know what I mean? So like, you know, we'll bring up the basics. The police are to protect and serve. The police are the people that are there when we need help, or like when we need assistance, when we are in trouble. You know, so they have that under control. That's a control theory right there. So with that being said, like the people that need help the most, or the people that will call help the most, might be the people that are doing the most wrong originally. And that might be white people, You know what I mean? Europeans, people that are tax evasion, all types of crazy stuff. So, in that being said, and not having a white ally in the police, you know what I mean, and just having that type of force, you're already at a certain advantage. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you look at a disadvantage of a black person doesn't have any type of pull or say so, or like any, in black people of poverty, it's a nice list of people, but specifically we're talking about black people. Black people don't have any type of great representation with the police. Now, you're asking, why do you think that's okay that the police can do that? We talked about it earlier. Like, people say, not all cops are bad. I'm really iffy about that statement, and to change the narrative of that, okay, not all cops are bad, but all cops are loyal. And that's the problem. That's the problem. The cop is going to be loyal to their badge. Yeah. Their badge has underlying issues that we didn't read. We don't know what this says in that paperwork, or what the loyalty, or what the underlying perspective or motive that the police have, and that's important.
And I actually got my cousin as a cop. Mm-hmm. I respect that he does something dangerous, mm-hmm. but he would post when this happens. Mm-hmm. Well, look at their record, and I'm like, dude, like, the record has nothing to do with
all
this.
Cops are loyal.
Yeah, and I'd be like, he would even tell me, not all cops are bad. Well, then where are the good ones speaking out against this? Like,
they're just loyal. I won't say good or bad. They're just loyal, because here's the thing, and this is why you'll never win that argument with all cops are good, or not all cops are bad, because if there were good cops, and I think I could safely say that if there really were good cops, these good cops that we're thinking of, they would step down from the force. Yeah. But they're loyal. You know what I mean? Like, they signed over, they pledge over, like, it's a loyalty thing. Like, they're not going to go against any of that loyalty. Black, white, Puerto Rican, Asian, purple, green, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Cops are loyal.
And that's a huge problem, because from the time we're little, it's do what you're told. Like, speak up for those that you see something bad's happen. Mm-hmm. Like if you see someone getting picked on, step in. Don't. I mean, that's what I was told as a kid. Like, don't pick on people, regardless of anything. Like for me, it was never brought into color or anything. It was like, if you see something bad happen to someone, stop it. Like don't let someone get jumped. Don't let someone pick on someone just because they're different. Mm-hmm. And I just can't see how somebody can just, like, let that happen. And it's not right.
It's rough, man. It's rough, but, like, you got to think about it, like, and really think about. And after this conversation, I know you'll reiterate and look at it again and see what's going on. But, like, that's what we're fighting for. A lot of non-black people think that this is about police brutality, or cops being too rough to black people or not treating black. This is about the systematic oppression that has been built over hundreds of years against black people. That's what this is about. Because think about it. We can go back and say slavery's only been about 400 years, X amount of years. We could round that off. How long has the world been here? We on 2020. Yeah. So somewhere along the line in these history books that we may not have been able to see or don't have access to, that black people weren't picked on. Yeah. Black people weren't, the oppressed. Black people were of the supreme. You know what I mean? Like, we have some of that information and know that. So we're wondering why, out of all this time that's going on, why the hell did somebody decide to make some sort of clause, law, book, whatever it is, that you're going to do whatever you want to our people for however long you can? Yeah. I don't think anybody's with that. Because here's the thing. It's sad, because you can give black people our freedom today, and we wouldn't go and do that to white people. We wouldn't flip the switch.
I mean, some of the most caring people that I know are a person of color, a black person. One of my really close friends, Paradise Gray, he calls me out of the blue just to see how I'm doing. I reached out to him recently, and, like, I want to know how he is doing. Right. Like, I mean, this isn't a time about me or anyone that looks like me, like, because there's bigger issues than that going on, and I mean that coming from my heart, like this is just a fucked up time, and I'm hating raising my kids during this time because it's not fair for anybody to witness this because it should never have existed.
And it's one of those things that I could say for like maybe the past 100 years we've been fighting our ass off for it. You know what I mean? And like it's something that history repeats itself in a funny way. My history teacher, Miss Ollinger, at Mercier's in college, she always reminded me that. She always told me history will repeat itself. History will repeat itself, and history is repeating itself again. And the only time that history doesn't repeat itself is if there's change. So, I think at this point, you know what I mean, just black people in general, the types of black people that we have today, and the power and the positions that we do have, like you said, you can't even fathom why this makes sense. So we're pushing for the change, like whatever that may take, whatever that may cause.
Well, and I think everybody that is pushing for this change is doing an amazing job. The other side is what I'm seeing from non-black people or non people of color. They're fighting against it. I'm like, could you like?
They know that system.
And what's fucked up is, and I try to think of what it would feel like if this was reversed. I wouldn't like it. I mean, I've had horrible things said to me, and it's nothing close to what probably you have experienced, or anybody that's a person of color, or black, Asian, or whatever. I'm like, if I didn't like that, why would you accept that? Like it's crazy.
It's so funny that conversations like this are always had, and like they need to be had. But the messed up part about that angle of it is life's not fair.
No,
you know what I mean? So like, because life's not fair, that's why this is okay to some people. And they understand that system. They know that system. They were raised on that system, so they don't even know any better. So like, that's what we're up against. Like, we're not up against people's personal emotions or feelings or anything. This is something that's been beaten in the head of a lot of different types of non-black people for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A really long time. So like, we have to break that. You know what I mean? Like, this is the same type of fight right now, and this is nowhere near in equivalence or anything, but like, just for examples of how we pushed hard for gay marriage in the LGBTQ community to be accepted, how we're still fighting for that daily. You know what I mean? For exception, for them to have equal rights to do this and that, for them to not be mistreated or felt or smited any sort of way for just breathing. You know what I mean? Just being alive. Like, it's the same fight. You know what I mean? Like, that's what type of angle we're coming at. It's not like, oh, give us more opportunity. Oh, like, it's like, at this point, leave us alone. You know what I mean? Like, drop this and like, let's all be normal, because we are. You know what I mean? We're all equal. But like, that system, that box, that resistance that you see of your peers, they understand that system.
Yeah.
They get it completely. And they know that we have to stand, just as much as we have to stand and protest and go against that system, they have to stand and protest and go against our system. You know what I mean? Because that's what's keeping it alive.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important for, us to have this conversation, and you have the knowledge to have the conversation with those beings.
And what I'm seeing is people saying, well, my friend is a cop, my brother's a cop, my nephew, or my son-in-law, my son. And it's like, just because they're a cop doesn't mean you have to not be for this. Like, like, you could still love them, appreciate their job, but also understand that it's bigger than that. It's beyond them. And,
It's not a me you personal fight. This is a me us person. You know what I mean? Like just to be like it's way bigger than any individual.
Yeah.
And like that's what we want people to understand. You know.
Well, what can someone that is non-black do to help? Like that. Like how can we become allies? What can we do for the cause? I know there's donating.
Mm-hmm.
There's giving the Black Lives Matter,
Mm-hmm.
and supporting black businesses, and making sure you know what businesses those are. Like what else can we do then?
You know, like I was like talking about, like that, all that is appreciated, and honestly, like you using your platform and like your following to have this conversation, to talk about this and get into that specific detail is a help. You know what I mean? It's a conversation that we are not being irate towards each other or feel any sort of way. We're good friends. You know what I mean? It's something of just conversation. So I feel that needs to be done. Like it's not the I see you as an ally already. So like I don't think the conversation with us it's necessary, because then you can spring it to the next being.
Yeah.
But you need the person that we need for the allies to talk to are those people, and that's because we don't really have the resource or like the access to those actual racist people, because they're not gonna come nowhere near us. Because you know what I mean, they don't know how to take it. Like they're probably gonna say something racist, it's gonna get real. You know what I mean? So like we don't sit in the same rooms with the people that are actually oppressing us.
Yeah, and has
like we have floaters, like people that say random racist stuff that follow the cause, but like to make the change, the conversations need to be had with those people that follow live, breathe, eat shit that system, and that's the break. You know what I mean? Because like this conversation is just going to build interest to those who might not have understood before, but there's more research to be done. And it's also to have conversations with people that, don't really go with the cause. Because like, there's a reason why you don't go with the cause, or that you don't believe in Black Lives Matter. Like, and it's like, why?
No, and when people say, well, yeah, Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. It's like, well, you're not demonstrating that, saying that, because as you're saying that, you're already discounting. And please correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're already discounting the voice of anybody of color when you're saying, of course, Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. Because if that was the case, in my mind, these kids wouldn't be in cages. We wouldn't be.
If that was the case, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and we wouldn't have never said Black Lives Matter. Because all lives matter came from Black Lives Matter. That's it. You know what I mean? So like that's why. You know what I mean? And that's a soul conversation that you can have with somebody that is an all lives matter person, because that person is, whether they like it or not, blindly racist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they just are. They don't get it. They're probably a person that would joke about the wall and Mexico, like that. All that, it's not funny. It's racist. So, it's that conversation of, where do you think all lives matter came from? It came from somebody that was going against Black Lives Matter. That was it. You know what I mean? Because like, think about it. Like, think about cancer. You're talking about breast cancer. People, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people march for breast cancer every year. Do you think anybody with brain cancer or anybody that supports brain cancer is marching in the breast cancer march with the brain cancer ribbon and screaming all cancers matter and doing brain cancer stuff at a breast cancer event? Like, no, breast cancer is highly respected. And every cancer that we do have, every condition that we do have is respected. They get colors, ribbons, all types of stuff that brings the representation, like I've been talking about, the representation that this is why we fight, or this is why we come together to support this type of person or this type of being. So I think that's the main reason, like it's like you can't. I seen another one like, all right, it might be if it's your birthday today, and I'm just like, oh, all birthdays matter. You know, fuck that. It's my birthday. You know, like, or my birthday matters right now because it's my birthday. And it's like, I guess, but like, that's some asshole stuff. You know, that's some jackass shit. And it's racist, you know, it's birthdayist and cancerous, you know, whatever you want to put your prefix and your suffixes to, like, that's the point of where racist comes from, you know?
I forget the comedian's name, but he was talking about for like 9/11. He's like, never forget. Like, you know what I mean? And he's trying to say like all buildings matter. Like that, like, yeah, something horrific happened to the Twin Towers. But then if you say all buildings matter, it's like, you know what I mean? Like he was trying to show it. I forget his name.
Hold on, I got some people giving some recommendations.
Yeah, please.
Let me see. It says, get rid of implicit bias. Use your platforms to promote racial equality. Donate to the movement. Speak to individuals in high places to hire more people of color. Level the playing field. So, you know, we were talking about that. This one's from my homie Solo. He says, talk to the kids in your life and build the allies early. And we could talk about that as well, because I actually have shout out to Jonah. We started class yesterday, but you know, I do want to help Jonah understand what's going on as well. He's a 13-year-old kid, you know what I mean? And just it helps. It's a each one teach one type of thing. You know what I mean? Reach one, teach one is something that, you know how hard long division is? Long division sucks, right?
Yeah, fucking right.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's damn hard to like most people, you know, but you gotta stay at it if you want to be good at long division. So like that's something like what's going on now. Like it's not that we want to be annoying or shove it down anybody's throat, but it's like when you want to be good at something or you want something to change, it has to keep being beat into your head until you are a pro.
I totally agree.
You know what I mean? So like, you know, it's things that you could do. I'm not saying that you aren't doing anything correct, because like this is appropriate, because this is something that somebody might see this podcast and then want to do something else like it, or the next person you might sit down might be somebody that is an artist with a white supremacist view, and then you play devil advocate on that and you educate that person.
I hope I don't have those people in at my house. I mean, honestly, that's not welcoming.
Yeah,
and I mean, I would like to play devil's advocate, but I would have a hard time sitting across from someone and not hitting them or resorting to violence if they're going to say a bunch of racist stuff. You know, like that bothers me. 2.5 years ago, I was at a graduation party for my family, and unfortunately, I got bigots and racists on my mom or part of my family. I don't accept that. I don't associate with them. My daughter was sitting on my uncle's lap, having a great time. Next thing I know is he says, "We're going to turn you into a little racist." True story.
Wow. That's how it starts.
I was like, my mind was fucking blown, man. Like, I'm like, did I just hear that? Like it was a what the fuck moment. And then he said it again. So I grabbed her, put her on my lap, and I was like, no. I was like, you don't talk like that to my daughter. You're not speaking the views of what you believe that goes against us, and you're not going to spew that fucking president that we have now into my daughter. That's not acceptable. It literally took everything in me not to crack him in the mouth.
I was just about to say, like, unfortunately, sometimes you might got to punch. I done punched a couple motherfuckers over it, you know,
I'm
over that happening. And it's not. I do want you to feel. I understand what you're about. I don't want you to feel like I know what you're saying. You don't want to have to do that, but like in the same note, if you would have punched that man in the face for saying that racist ass shit in front of your daughter, he would have never did that shit again.
And I regret not doing it.
He would have never did that shit again to anybody. And that's where the stance that we want in our allies, like we want our allies strong. You know what I mean? Like ally ready to go just as much as, you know what I mean? Like if this is the pants you want to wear, you're gonna have to button them. You know what I mean? So it's like when you put these on, you know, like that's where we want our allies. We want our allies ready to take action in that, and not just a physical aspect, but like that type of. That's how disrespectful that was. You know what I mean? Because I know that's how you felt. You know, I know you probably couldn't even believe it, and because of your daughter being there, that's what saved that man.
Yeah, because I mean, the last thing I want is my daughter or my son to see me violent and become afraid of me, and not at that age understand why I got violent. And I had enough respect for my cousin who was graduating. And I'm not saying that it's right that I held back. For my mother, who was right there, like to me, it was just like, we have to leave. Yeah, like we have to leave. I let him know that that's not right. And right before my son got baptized, I let my cousin know that he's not welcome to come to the church that we go to for what he said. And for the fact that if he says anything in that church, because we go to a very multicolored and cultured church, which is important to me, because I can learn from others, and my kids get to see a variety of people. That it's not acceptable for him to come there and talk that way, or even to have those beliefs. I never got an apology. Nope. I got that. You know what? That's not how we feel. That he said. Well, you know what? You might not feel that way, but what did you do to stand up against that? Like to say at a kid's graduation party when people were having fun. Like no, like I was shaking the whole way home, and it's I keep saying it's a fucked up world. It really is.
It is, man, and you know, like situations like that. And like I said, I don't really, I'm not gonna say I don't condone, because I mean shit happens, you know. But like, you know, I'm not really the super violent type of person, you know. But imagine, and this is just giving perspective against that. Like, imagine if you did crack him in his face. Like, yeah, you would have seemed aggressive at that moment, but then, you know, family's top. Your daughter would have asked you, your daughter loves you. She's going to ask you, well, what was going on? And then that was the stance. You know what I mean? Because everyone around would have asked, like, why did, Cousin Bob punch Cousin such? Why did that happen? It's like, well, Cousin such and such said something, that wasn't, that opens the, like, those are the things. And that's just an example of, like, the impact that's needed to help turn this around.
And it's, and we talked about this, like my daughter's going to be 5 in July, and I think now with everything going on, I'm watching things in front of her. I'm not shadowing or hiding the fact of what's going on in the world with my kids, because it's not right. Like, this is a horrible time. They need to understand it. I try to explain it to her of what's going on and how it's wrong. And I told her that, like, it's not acceptable for anybody to do this to anybody. Like, you can be, like, and I try telling her, you can be friends with whoever. You can love whoever, marry whoever. As long as they're good to you, that's all I care about. And that's what I would like to see go further in this world. Maybe I'm thinking in the perfect world and stuff like that, because that's just kind of how I am.
We can get there. Trust me, we can get there. It's just the proper steps. You know what I mean? Of being stern and what's going on, and keeping this revolution. You know what I mean? The Black Lives Matter is no longer a movement. The Black Lives Matter is a revolution. And to keep this revolution possible, you know what I mean? Like, it must keep getting beat in, and because this is the time where you don't get to study the history books. This is the time where you become the history books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I think that's the most important part.
I agree with you. But the thing that scares me with everything that's going on and the changes that I really feel are going to come from people pushing and pushing, because it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
But are they going to put this in the history books? Because, I mean...
Oh, they're going to have to. Because this is what we're going to do. This fight is everything. So they're going to have to put us in the history books, because we'll have black publication. You know what I mean? We'll have black representation. We'll have black writers. We'll have black editors. We'll have black publishers. We'll have, you know what I mean? Like, that's why we don't have it in the history. Oh, this is in the history books, my friend. Yeah. Trust me.
There's numerous.
To be. I'm talking about in the past. Yeah. The past revolutions. The past, fights for equality. The fights for our rights. Like, these are in history books, but they feed us what they want. You know what I mean? So, like, we are fighting for the representation to keep our history books, to publish our history books to the masses. You know what I mean? To the non-black eye. To the eye that needs to understand what, in solidarity, we actually mean to the human body. That's the point. You know what I mean? It's way, and it's such an interesting conversation, because, like, it gets deeper, and we got to unpeel this onion in this podcast to that. But, like, that's what has to happen in multiple studios, in multiple dining rooms, in multiple boardrooms, in multiple, conference calls, Zooms calls. Like, that's what needs to happen to the right people, to the people that may be against this, to the people that don't understand. And a lot of people are running from it because they know what happens when this actually changes. Because what did I say before? White supremacy doesn't know how to lose.
No, they don't. And it's time they do.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, with everything that happened going back to even Charlottesville, the fact that we have someone that's leading our nation openly said, there's fine people on both sides.
Right.
No, there's not. You got people that are fighting and marching for equality. And then you got people that are like, no, we don't want that. Yeah. It's like how can you call them fine people? Like that. That's the thing that gets me.
That's because money's fine. That's why. You know what I mean? Money look good too. Like, and the thing about a person being fine doesn't mean, you know what I mean, they're great. It doesn't mean they're intentional. It doesn't mean they're loving. It doesn't mean they're caring. You know what I mean? And these are attributes that black people are. You know what I mean? Solely. How they come out of their mothers. This is how they are. And we need to pay attention to that. And, like, that's what the intention, you know what I mean? Like, good intention needs to meet intentional work. And that's what needs to be done for this to be done successfully. We've had good intentions for 400 years. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure you could say a slave owner had good intention on why they wanted their cotton and their grass picked at a faster rate, because the black body was more athletic than another body. That seems to somebody a good intention.
That I don't get that.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like that's some sort of good intention. So, like, with that good intention, we have to change. We have to be able to decipher what's good intention and what's intentional work. So, like, all the good intention that non-black people have, we have to put it towards intentional work, or it falls into any other type of category. You know what I mean? Like, good intentions, you know what I mean? Kinsler tells me all the time, good intentions, you know what I mean? The road to hell is paved on good intentions. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. People steal, rob, kill for the better good of what they might have in their situation. Yeah. But they're doing horrible things out of good intention. Yeah. You know what I mean? It happens. So, like, we need to take good intention and make it intentional work only. Good intention shouldn't even be a thing when it comes to this Black Lives Matter revolution. It should be intentional work. How can we come with intentional work? How can we be intentional with our work? Now, how can we help? How can we be intentional with our work? Because what you're doing, your allyship, it's work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it helps. Like, this conversation, it helps. There's people viewing, it helps. People are going to view this. People are going to see it. Some people are going to be uncomfortable. Some people aren't going to like it. Some people are going to agree. Some people are disagree. But it helps. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Everything starts with the conversation.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think people need to hear the other side. And I'm saying, coming from you, coming from another person of color, like, and I'll say this over and over again, just because my reality is something doesn't mean yours isn't.
Right.
You know? Mm-hmm. Now, to form this into going into art as well.
Mm-hmm.
How has this affected you, creativity?
Oh, I mean, just me and, I've been spending a lot of this time with my girlfriend as well, like knowing, everything going on. And, it's draining, like it's like we already, as the Black community, we're so tired, just so weary, so, just so ran down from having to persevere from generations of oppression and generations of our parents and our grandparents not being able or only being able to do this. So, to see this come full circle and be at this moment right now, it's draining. Like, it's really hard to paint. I've been, refunding money, to certain clients and commissions just because, like, it's a lot, like it's a lot. I can only take certain bigger jobs right now, and that's just all I can handle at the moment, just because of what's going on. Even with the reform, like it's not that was in the way or like or I had any problem doing that. I would do it 100 more times, 100,000 more times over, but it just it was unplanned. So the energy behind it, I wasn't ready for. We did 3 days. That reform was from Wednesday to Friday. Picking up paint, going back and forth. We had a couple donations, Jeremy Raymer, Ashley Harder, Boom Concepts, like just facilitating that, talking to organizations, talking to OPA. It's draining. And I can only imagine for any other creative that might not even be in a fruitful position like I am in. A lot of people, what I just said, it might not seem like a problem to them, but, it's, everybody has their hardships and what they're going through, and like I said, I just couldn't imagine for somebody that's really trying. You know what I mean? An artist of color, a Black artist that's really trying and had a breakthrough coming. You know what I mean? And this happened. Like you're weary, you're tired. So
I would like to think if you're not tired right now, you're questionable.
Yeah.
I mean, take
seriously,
like take the Rona out of it,
mm-hmm.
and we're at a time now. It's just like it's another body. It's another unjustly death. It's like I'm having a hard time creating.
Yeah, it's rough
because it's. I don't like seeing my friends feel less than,
mm-hmm.
and they shouldn't. And it's very bothersome.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is people listening,
mm-hmm.
or I shouldn't say that. I think a step is people listening,
mm-hmm.
and that's what, because you can hear something, but you gotta listen,
mm-hmm. And you gotta comprehend. You know what I mean? And you gotta be able to spew that back out to that person. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what we want in an ally, to be able to take everything that we actually want from or in an ally, take that in and be able to project that to the people that it needs to hear it.
Yeah.
And like, it sounds
Are there any questions on IG?
One is, how do we overcome tiredness to not lose momentum? That's actually a good question. Unfortunately, at this time, it's not about momentum. You know what I mean? Like, momentum is like a weird time right now. I actually got 2 minutes left on this live, so I'm gonna end this joint and then start a new one, like right now, and hop on your question, Nicole, because I got you. So I'm gonna end this one now and then hop on a new one. All right, and now share.
So right now, what you see Cameron doing is he was also going live on Instagram with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking to the camera, letting him know. So he's getting ready to post it to his looks like his IG story and IGTV. So just bear with us.
Yes, we just tried to start a new live video. All right. We we are now back. All right, cool. So back to just what we were talking about. The question was like, how do you overcome tiredness during this time, and like not how to lose momentum? And like I was saying, unfortunately, this is not a time where like we should be concerned with momentum. You know, as far as your tiredness, like this is a time to like, if you are tired, to rekindle and rest and make sure that you are in a position to be an ally, to fight, to protect, to, like I said, rest, to be, you know what I mean? Like this is not a time where when you're tired and you want to persevere and push through, you know what I mean? Like this is a time to really just, you know, focus on what's going on and like, you know, be present. You know, this is a be present type of thing. It's not a thing where you know, we're going to overcome this tiredness. We're going to be a little bit more uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be some things that are going to go on that are going to make us uncomfortable, and it's a thing, you know. So I wouldn't suggest you wanting to overcome your tiredness, but like, you know, make sure that you're resting. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that, you know, not just checking on your friends, but like just actually like being. Like, I know a lot of times we get stuck in our phone, we get stuck in our computer, what's going on, like, and you know, we all are still one person, one body. So like I think it's important that, you know, we are still taking care of ourselves and resting and like, you know what I mean, just feeling better, like feeling the best about ourselves in what's happening. Because what we definitely don't need is like being weary and tired about being weary and tired. You know, so like definitely take care, you know, take care of yourself before anything. And that's what I meant by like, this is not about a momentum
Seems like
thing.
it's a long road.
Yeah, you know what I mean? This is something that like, I'm not going to say you're going to have to get used to it, but this is something that, you know, you're going to have to take your time on. So, like, you know, make sure that you got the rest enough to, if you got a gig to do, you got a commission to do, make sure you got the energy to do that. Don't push against going to a protest and then coming home and try to paint. You know what I mean? Make sure you're unpacking everything that's going on. Make sure that you're understanding everything that's going on. Make sure that you're reflecting to someone. You know what I mean? Just be. Make sure you be. You know what I mean? Like, don't let this embody everything about you. You know what I mean? Like that's not what this is about. This is about empowerment of our people and empowerment about, you know what I mean, the allies that we have. That like we need us strong. So make sure in this time when you are tired, be tired, you know, like make sure that you do everything you need to come back to normal. Cause like that's what's important. We need you strong.
Now, couple years ago, 2015, you went to Art Basel.
Mm-hmm. That was first time I went. First time.
Now, when you were down there, did you experience anything within the art community that seemed very, I guess, non-accepting? Because you went down there because I was reading you went down with $70.
I had $35 in my pocket, man. It was wild, but Art Basel, I actually didn't see any of that, and like you know, it's just so much of a melting pot in Miami of beautiful culture. Like I went down, you know what I mean. My homie, he's an ally, TK Cavey, you know, a real good friend of mine, like brother to death. Like it's a white guy, you know. Went down with him. We had a blast, you know. Like we did some things, sold some jackets, met some really dope people of all different races. And you know, Miami has like a kind of almost like a Puerto Rican and Haitian flair to it, you know. So it's very diverse and very different languages are being spoken, and just understanding is more than just words and skin. Like it's like it's energy and frequency. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and well, the reason I asked that was because earlier off camera we were talking about how galleries and everything is 70% white males.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's why I was asking that.
So in Art Basel, they kind of try. I think that's one of the things that like a lot of artists of color and a lot of black artists can take advantage of. You know what I mean? I have a lot of homies that are black artists. You know what I mean? You know, men and women. You know, I have a lot of other artists that are of people of color. You know, of African descent. And they, you know, we go to Art Basel to do well. You know, that's our chance. You know what I mean? That's our serenity. That's our to make us feel, you know, together. You know what I mean? It's a time and a place where it almost seems like stuff like that is put aside. Yeah. You know, and the racism and the discrimination and the segregation is almost put aside. And it's just all about, you know, pure talent and representation down there. You know, so back to the gallery discussion. I wouldn't, you know, I've never done anything like real deal gallery for Art Basel, but it's always been like super open and receptive to like what's going on, and you know, I think their gallery representation might be a little different. If you're a Miami artist, I don't think it matters. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who, what, when, you know, like if you're in Miami and you're primarily doing art, you know, they pretty much take care of you. Now, as far as like representation other places, you know, galleries are galleries. You know, it's more of an exclusive thing with art galleries for sure. So if you look at art and like what's been put in the museums, and I think there was articles last year, and I think MoMA actually did a really good job of this. They like took time off and they like basically revamped their art curriculum and like what they were paying attention to, and they got like a bunch of artists of color in, a lot of women artists, and I thought that was dope, you know, because it's like, you know, we've seen these paintings of like these older white men 100 years ago for hundreds of years. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's a new day now.
Yeah, like we need some new flavor, we need some new inspiration, you know, something to just something different, you know what I mean? And like I said, like the representation of black people might not be the grandest right now, but it's coming, and you know what I mean? It's doing a really great job. We have artists like Kehinde Wiley, you know, Hebrew Brontley. Mm-hmm. We have you know what I mean? All types of just artists that like I don't want to call them by their Instagram names and stuff, but like, you know what I mean? Like we're just doing a great job of like representing ourselves.
Who's the artist, if you know it by mind, that painted the Obamas with all the like the leaves and stuff?
Oh, that was Kehinde Wiley.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Kehinde Wiley. I didn't know if you were speaking of Royal Dog's portrait of Michelle Obama. He did like a huge. I forget where it's at, but
the one guy that I always forget his name. And I saw Jonathan Levine share a bunch of his work when he had him at his gallery. He does like these faces, and it's almost like they're silver.
They're like metallic?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember his name. I follow him.
He's dope too.
I follow him right on my IG. Yeah, he's really dope. He's been doing a really good job over the past like 3 years with representation.
Yeah.
He's doing a really good job. Oh man, his name is.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go back on IG and say look at
that. IG names will have you messed up with real names. Yeah. That's why I've been trying to like push Camerin, Camo, and Nesbit, because it's like.
You know what? I was actually going to change my dirty art to my I guess my Christian name and everything, but I'm like, people are going to be like, who the fuck is this? Like,
it takes time to massage that in. You got to definitely be in the articles, the papers, like.
Yeah. I'm not even signing my work as dirty anymore. I sign it all as P. Fryer.
Okay.
Now, is there locally here in Pittsburgh? Is there any black-owned galleries?
Yeah, there's Boom Concepts. You know, shout out to Boom, Daryl and Thomas. They do a really good job of, you know, representing young black artists and having shows, and you know what I mean, what's going around. Flower House was a dope one. They're actually, Darnell and Naomi, they're working on a new gallery in Nafasi, and that's gonna be on the hill. So I know COVID messed a lot of their like construction and stuff up, but that's definitely something that's still happening on abroad. Of course, we got the August Wilson Center. You know what I mean? working on the representation with that. Great curators like Kilolo Luckett, you know what I mean? Like she's super, super dope and like how she curates. So, you know, there's black representation, but the thing about it is the resource that they give our black representation. You know, like you got to think about like what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do, what they can show. You know, what's going on in the politics of art. Like it's just about they can only move with what they're allotted to move with.
I think there's a lot of politics in art.
Oh man, it's one of the most political things. You got to think about it. Art yields some of the most money in the world as a profession. A lot of people don't know that.
Even in Pittsburgh, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Like what bothers me, and I'm not calling out a specific gallery, but there's a lot of galleries here that pull from outside of Pittsburgh when we have some amazing artists in Pittsburgh that I think could bring an attraction to these galleries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's something that I don't. It bothers me that like so many of my friends that are great artists, and I'm not saying I'm great, but I think we all deserve that chance within locally too. And I think, do you feel that you get more support locally, or do you think you get it nationally or internationally through Instagram?
That's you're the first person that ever asked me that question, like publicly. But I definitely get better representation out of town than I do here, and like it's an awkward reason why. I don't really know the reason why. I think a lot of times a lot of people that may be in a position to help me may not know how to go about so, or like like give me the actual resources I need. And I think that's a problem. I think a lot of people that are in the position to help us in the city don't have the real resources to help the artists and to push them to that next level or to that barrier, you know, like to push you out of being a local artist, you know, like I feel like Pittsburgh really hones in on just like molding the best local artists. And, you know, like it's hard for an artist to know how to go around that or go past that if there's no representation pushing people to the next level. But like I would go to, you know, for example, I went to New York, you know, Black Gotham experience, you know, did some in their gallery and then did a mural with them for Others Built New York during Pride Month last year. And, you know, that alone, you know, filled my pockets grandly, got me a show, got me representation in one of the biggest places in the world, and I was there for 4 or 5 days. And like I think the excuse that happens with the city is like, oh, well, they're a bigger city, but it's like, yeah, but Pittsburgh's also a growing city, and like it's, you know, it's not considered a small city.
I think we're a big small city.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's not like small. Yeah. So like, you know, like I've been to places in, you know what I mean, randomly in North Carolina, South Carolina, they got, you know what I mean, weirder representation or better representation of what's going on with their art world. And I think that, you know, I think the city is learning, and I think they're growing. And a lot of people that might be in positions have to learn how to play their position and not try to always play the artist and the practitioner and the admin and the person for the help. Because like, you know, it's about, think about it. If you're juggling, you can only juggle. You can't shoot one of them balls and make it. Yeah. You know what I mean? We playing basketball. Yeah. Y'all over here juggling. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like juggling is a cool trick. We love it. Like that's cool, but we hooping. You know what I mean? We trying to shoot, we trying to dunk. You know what I mean? Like it's like what?
Is there any questions?
Wavy Wednesday says, hell no, not locally. And I forget why she said that. Like, but you know, it's one of those things where we need people that if they're going to represent us in these matters, like that they need to focus on Pittsburgh artists. You know what I mean? Like, and not bring everybody from everywhere. You know what I mean? Like that's cool. Like there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you do to build your gallery. but you know what I mean, or build your space, build your resume. But we also have local artists that are ready to be filtered elsewhere. You know what I mean? And build pipelines elsewhere. It's all about relationships.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get to where you want to get when you go against, like, you do it step by step.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's harder to get to that final step at getting into a huge gallery or even a known gallery. Because it's, do you think that now representation goes to social media to where they're like, well, how many followers do they have? Like,
it honestly varies. You do have your clout galleries. You know what I mean? You got your galleries that only want artists that have X amount of followers, this, that, and the third. But I've also had galleries not want to, you know, hold my work because I'm black. You know what I mean? Or like, you know what I mean?
Are you serious?
Yeah, like a lot of people don't want to represent black art. Like,
please tell me, like, did they say those words?
Like, basically, yeah, we don't want, you know what I mean? You don't have the context that we want to, you know what I mean? Like, you can jazz it up as much as you want, but like, if I'm paying black art and black people, and then I see somebody that has a similar style and they're paying white people and they're in that gallery, or we can even get technical and like, we're just, you know what I mean, dealing with people that just kind of like paint for fun and have like types of money or following and get representation due to that, you know, it's a thing. So like, that's what we have to do as far as like representation in galleries to show like
that's pure ignorance on a gallery.
Yeah,
because like some of the great art is in pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah,
that were
original art galleries. Art galleries
that were not painted by white people.
But listen, you know that. But look who Christopher Columbus is. What did he do?
He raped and pillaged
and stole.
Yeah.
So like. That's our point, you know what I mean? Just as, not as just black artists, but it's like, all right, when are y'all going to let practitioners, artists, you know what I mean, great people, black people live? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to steal. You can learn. You know what I mean? Like, you can learn whatever you want. You know what I mean? You don't have to steal anything.
I said this in an interview a while ago that from a newspaper. They asked me about why I paint a lot of, at the time I was painting a lot of hip-hop artists. I said, well, hip-hop has educated me. Hip-hop has brought a lot of things that I was not aware of that was happening around the world. And at an early age. I was listening to Tupac, and when I heard Brenda's Got a Baby,
it's deep.
It's deep. Like, I didn't know anything about this because I wasn't experiencing it,
right?
And I don't think that's a culture thing. I just think that's being young and pregnant. But I didn't know anything about that, and so like hip hop has influenced me to my lifestyle, to my way of thinking. So it's like I don't know. There's a lot of ignorant people in this fucking world.
Yeah, I'm about to say it just comes down to, you know, I can't say, you know, this fight, this revolution that we're in, we're getting closer, but we got a long way to go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like, it's just one of those things, like you said, like it's just like a kind of baby step thing, but they're like baby stomps. You know what I mean? Like,
you gotta stomp.
Yeah, we gotta stomp the shit. Like, you know what I mean? So like, it's like baby stomps, baby swings, but like peacefully, only because being violent doesn't change anything.
I think it adds to, and correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, I think when the violence happens, and I think it's caused by people that are going against the cause, that are starting all the violence, when you do that, people won't listen to a message.
It just gives bad representation to the message if it comes with violence. Because then at the end of the day, like if you want to be technical, we're probably gonna have to go to war. You know what I mean? Do like a civil war, and that can get real ugly. You know what I mean? Because like there's no, oh look, it's directly white over here and it's directly black over here. It's like kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it's not, we're not in any type of state logistically to have a civil war.
Not,
You know,
I'm not for war. I'm not.
no, me, I don't. I think war is an old trade. I think it's done. You know what I mean? We can't really be going to war.
Like again, this is me being very naive, probably simple-minded too. But if you don't like the color blue, and I like the color blue, or whatever color, and you're like, why can't we have a conversation and meet in the middle and be like, you know what, like, it's a beautiful color. It's just not my favorite. You know, that might have been a bad.
No, it's not.
I didn't mean it.
That's what you're having an open conversation. But this is what white supremacy thinks. They think, oh, well, we don't like black skin, and it's okay that we don't like black skin, so we're going to oppress them. No. Time out. You cannot like us as much as you want.
Yeah.
But you will not continue to oppress us. That's where the draw line is. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with, like, oh, we hate white people. White people are the worst ever. We say that because of the actions that white people have proven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I can't argue that.
Yeah, you know, like,
I won't even try to.
It has nothing to do with any of that. You know what I mean? It's just on some, like, we not having that anymore. You cannot like the color. You know what I mean? You cannot like black people. That is fine, but you do that from your punk ass couch in your punk ass house. You know what I mean? Like, you do that over there and don't say anything to anybody, and you don't make it hard for us.
Yeah, like, I don't like beets. Okay, I hate beets. I don't go to the grocery store and smash every beet I see. You know, I walk
and
past
hide them and steal the
Yeah.
beet seeds and do weird ass shit to the beets. Like, there's no point of that.
No, and I just don't get that way of thinking. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like people for who they are, not what they look like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And last year or a year or whatever, I was called racist because I was calling out racists that I don't like them. Mm-hmm. They're like, well, you're being racist. And I'm like, well, racists aren't necessarily a race. It's a mindset.
Yeah, it's a mind frame. It's a systematic train of thought.
Yeah. So, like, me not liking those people doesn't make me racist. It makes me human because and that's my take on it, because I value everyone's life the same, but I don't value anybody who
is racist.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't have to. You know what I mean? When somebody goes against the own constitution of what they built, you know what I mean? The Constitution was built on what they gave us, Christianity. But how do you build this on Christianity and then go against the actual book that you swear on to fight these same type of things?
Yeah, and well, again, the same people, they're saying all lives matter are for abortion.
Yeah, all life couldn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, people are just picking and choosing at this point. And if you're picking, and this is me speaking, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're picking against Black Lives Matter, you're not all lives matter. You're not.
You're racist. You're point blank racist, and that's just what it is. And here's the thing: white people that are racist, it is okay to be self-centered. You could be self-centered and not like black people. You can make that about you. That could be your own personal vendetta. But you cannot be selfish and be mad and be spiteful and envious and do these things and follow the suit of things that were already deemed wrong or deemed lost. Because then you're part of the problem. You're part of white supremacy, and you don't know how to lose. Sore losers never win.
No.
They never win. Why do you think you got to keep making shit up and doing this and doing that just to oppress us? Yeah. Sore losers never win. So all we asking is for people not to be sore losers. You know what I mean? And not just people, white supremacists, not to be sore losers. Step to the side. Stop doing that bullshit you're doing. You know what I mean? And we can live happily ever after with everybody. It's simple. Because here's the saddest part about it. white supremacy has done so much to black people that they are probably so fearful of freeing a black person due to thinking we want revenge. We don't want revenge. We want to even score.
What I don't like about white supremacy, to add to it, is I was doing a job at one of my previous jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I got a shaved head. I got a bad hairline, homie. I'm going bald in the back. Hair does not look good on me.
Mm-hmm.
I shave. Dude was wearing a 1% patch, a Confederate, a big Trump 2020 and all kinds of stuff. And he looks at me and was like, "What's up?" I'm like, "No, man." Like, I just looked at him. I was like, nah.
And that's what I'm saying. It's a mentality because he goes to even put you in a boat that he may be in due to what you look like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's funny that the eye is the only sense that will deceive you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people go off of.
Yeah.
That's why I always say I make paintings feel, not just make them beautiful. You got to make them feel. Because if you don't, what if you can't see it?
That's right.
And that's the problem. Everybody wants to be so visual with things. Like, oh, well, like, you know, black people are different. They're built different. They're stronger. They're this, they're that. There's movies, you know what I mean? It's all visual. It's all these speculations of what you visually see. But I promise you would not think like that if you were in this body. It wouldn't be about that.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's the problem. It's about getting rid of those stupid goggles that they have on. You know what I mean? These white supremacist goggles that literally try to see their way to the top and don't respect the fact that there's other senses. And that's what makes your brain work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, your brain's not working all the way. You want to be 1%, you're using 1% of your brain. You know, that's why you hide in fear. The people that are actually in control of this, I would never run into them.
Yeah.
That's because out of fear for them. Mm-hmm. They do this out of fear. They run the system out of fear. And I would be scared too if I didn't know how to lose and I kept fucking with shit.
Yeah. Well, you're making a change. I think your voice, the way you're talking and what you're speaking of, everybody needs to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
What time you got on there?
It's 2:50.
As much as I want to keep talking,
mm-hmm.
I gotta do some dad stuff today.
Hey, look.
But I would love to have you back either on camera or
mm-hmm.
off camera because I would like to learn from you. I think this is a talk that should continue,
mm-hmm.
Not just once, but over time. If I can ever do anything for you or to help out, please let me know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here to be to sound like the old savior, but I'm here as a friend. I'm here as an ally. If you ever need anything, just reach out to me. I'll do anything I can to help.
And it's appreciated,
especially for the movement, and especially for a friend. So
mm-hmm.
I mean that's where I stand.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you would like to say to the camera, to anyone?
To the allies out there, you know, thank you. You know, keep going hard for the revolution. You know, it's important. It's something that isn't about to just wash away. So the integrity and, you know, the efforts, everything that's being done is appreciated. To my fellow people, my fellow black people, keep fighting. You know, fight as hard as you can, but rest. You know what I mean? Like, if you're tired, then make sure you rest and make sure you're doing your thing. Other than that, you know, mental health is wealth. I don't really got too much else to say. I'm not really promoting the artwork or anything right now. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to follow suit with everything I've said, you know, in this podcast and just, you know, wrapping my mind around everything that's going on and just building more opportunity for black artists. But other than that, you know, just mental health is wealth. Well,
would you want to come back and talk art? When things slow down for you,
for sure,
and you're mentally there, I'd love to have you back for that too.
For sure.
I mean, it's I got the camera; it's always on, man. So
I appreciate it.
And for anyone who's watching, listening, check him out, Camocustomz, and he's an amazing person, a great talented artist, and great representation. Peace.
For sure.
You can like and share it too. Show it to your family and every person in your crew. And put that subscribe button to use. Durty Talk, the podcast. Brought to you by my man Bob Fryer, aka Dirty Art. Check it out.